Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, IndieAuthor Jill. And today we are looking at leadership lessons from classic literature, The Odyssey by Andrew W. Reitmeyer. I believe I'm saying that right. Um, nope, that doesn't help you see the name, does it? It's late. Um, it's been a long day. Um, I had to meet with my personal trainer today, and she's mean. She has a her motto is "Hate me now, love me later," and she's doing wonders. I'm actually down 5 pounds from working with her, so I don't begrudge or anything. But she's mean, and she's mean with a purpose, and I do appreciate what she does for me. But I'm tired and I'm sore. Um, Anyway, I came home and finished this again, another 5 day read or 1 day read. And the last of the TBR. So yeah, we're stay. We're gonna have to pull this guy out again. Um, and you know what? Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Um, I'm not doing it tonight. That's a whole separate video. Um, I don't know what I expected from this book, but I did not get what I expected at all because my first thought is, um, it like I said, leadership lessons from classic literature, the Odyssey, and I'm sitting there thinking the only leader I know in that story is um Odysseus, and he's kind of an idiot. He makes a lot of stupid mistakes. There's so many times when he could have just been home, and because of choices that he makes, he either choices he makes or choices his crew makes. There's just a lot that culminate in him just not getting home, and it's like um, it. Lemony Snicket would have made a would have loved this story. It was definitely a series of unfortunate events. Um, so I was trying to. I wasn't really sure what to expect with this, but I was sitting there thinking, I don't know that. Let's see if we can get some more light in here. I was like, I don't know that Odysseus is the person to take leadership lessons from. You know what I mean? And as he's going through and explaining it, I realize where he's coming from. That it's not uh always about how successful you are, and not for nothing either. Yoda in Rise of Skywalker uh tells Luke the same something very similar. He tells him that he needs to tell Rey the truth about who he is and what he's done, and because those who learn from us, while it's true that they learn from our successes, they also learn from our failures. And of course, Luke doesn't necessarily take this well, but when has Luke ever taken much of Yoda's advice well? um Yoda is constantly telling him, like even in what is it, The Return of the Jedi, or an what is it? A New Hope. Anyway, the when he's doing his training with Yoda, he rushes to help his friends, and Yoda tells him, "You can't go. If you go, you will not finish your training." And Luke says, "I'll be back," and like Yoda knows he will be back, but by the time he comes back, it'll be too late. and so Yoda's trying to get him to at least finish out his training before he goes into battle, and of course he doesn't. Um, Even when he's trying to get the Tie Fighter out of the or the X-wing out of the um, marshes, and he's like, "I'll try," and Yoda's like, "Do or do not. Don't. There is no try." But yeah, Luke's not great at taking advice from Yoda, honestly. Um, but Yoda has very good points, and like he said, we learn as much from we learn from the successes, but we learn a lot more from the failures. And I think that uh, Andrew makes a very good point in this book that um, one of the things we're learning, the most valuable lessons we learn from Odysseus isn't in when he gets it right, but when he gets it wrong. But not only do we learn the reason that why he gets it wrong matters isn't just because he gets it wrong and us understanding, okay, yeah, you messed up there. Like, we obviously understand at reading the Odyssey, hey, moron, stop yelling at the angry Cyclops throwing rocks at your boat, first of all. Second of all, do not tell him your name. Stay with nobody. You know, uh, but of course, Odysseus doesn't do any of that. He does yell at the Cyclops. If he hadn't yelled at the Cyclops at all, the Cyclops would not have known that they had escaped and gotten on the ship and left. They could have just kept rowing and there would have been no attack, let alone any curse placed on them from the god Poseidon. But you know, he does make those mistakes. But every time he's landing at different places, different lands, his first instinct is, "Let's go explore." And it starts off with, "Let's explore and let's raid and pillage this land." And then as that the more that that does not pay off, it's like, okay, let's investigate the land and see if there are pleasant people here. And okay, we found pleasant people, but they're eating this flower that basically makes you incapable of caring about anything else. Let's get away from that. Um, they get to they get to a place of cannibals. They get to um, a place where the men are turned into pigs. They it's one thing after another, and he um, makes his as he's making his way. He learns from each place. Okay, and going into a place, he's like, okay, we're not sending everybody in, we're just sending a small scouting party and we're going to have somebody hold back and kind of watch and see what happens so that we have someone safe enough that can come back and report to us, because it's been the case that we've sent a scouting party and nobody bothered to report to us, or they were captured and killed and it was too late to send word back to us. So like we he points out that as we go through the Odyssey, we do get to see Odysseus not only learning from his mistakes, but learning how to be carrying those lessons into the next encounter. And uh, he goes further. He becomes more of a cautious person and less of an impulsive person. He becomes less greedy and less proud, but like he still keeps having those proud moments. Even when he gets back home, and he's fighting off the would-be suitors to his wife, uh, he's still not a perfect leader, obviously. Even if the only person he's leading is his son and his staff. Um, but I like the way that Andrew goes about going through, because he doesn't just uh he takes you step by step, and there's a nice little graphic in here, um where he points out, uh where all the places that all the steps that he goes, and he's like, okay, here is the Battle of Troy, here he's with this other nation that he tries to wipe out, and then he gets down to here and keeps going back and around and whatnot, um, until he finally gets home. And yeah, he, as you can see, like, this is where he starts, this is where he's going. Like, literally, he just has to come around here, but he ends up blown around all over here because of terrible decisions before he finally gets back here. Um, but at each one of those points, Andrew stops and takes the time to say, okay, when he's here, this is what he does. This is where he shows good leadership, and this is where he shows bad leadership. And then onward to the next place. Okay, now he's over here and he has done this thing, and this is where he's uh shown good leadership, that he's learned from this past thing, but here's a new mistake that he makes. And then he goes to this place, and now he's learned from those other two mistakes, and he brings what he's learned from those two into this and makes new mistakes. And obviously he keeps making mistakes. Um, I especially loved how when the one king gives him, he has uh Odysseus tells him, we just want to get home. We've been away for over a decade for this war. We just want to go home. And the king says, okay, he has control of the winds. So he grabs the south wind and the north wind and the east wind, and he puts them all in a bag and ties them up nice and tight and gives them to Odysseus and says, store this on the boat. When you get home, let the winds loose. This way, the only wind that is going to be about is the west wind, and it'll blow you right home. And Odysseus doesn't tell his crew what's in the bag. He just stores the bag on the ship, and then they sail home, and they're almost home. They're so close. They can see the lights of their homeland burning. And during that time, from that king's land to almost to Ithaca, to basically the doorstep of Ithaca, Odysseus has not delegated anything to the guys. He alone is steering the ship home because he doesn't trust anybody to do it but him. And when he sees the lights of home, finally he decides, I'm going to rest. While he rests and leaves the ship in the care of his men, they start grumbling and they realize, okay, we have lost all of our uh, spoils of war and all of our riches and everything, and we're coming home empty handed. We've toiled just as much as he's toiled, and we're coming home empty handed. That's not fair. While he's got this big bag that the king gave him, let's go look in the bag and see what they've given him. And when they do, of course, all the other three winds come out, and he's blown asunder and blown right back to the king, who is not amused by the mutiny of his men, and he figures that if you have mutinous men that have done this to you, then you must be a bad person, and the gods must be against you, and I don't want you in my kingdom. Get out. I don't need you to bring whatever curse you've brought with you to my people. And so Odysseus is back on his own, sailing back from wherever back to Ithaca, and um Andrew points out that in this instance there was three things he could have done that would have made all the difference. The first and foremost is trusting his men, and the second is goes along with it is communicating with his men. All he had to do was gather his men and tell them the king has given us aid to get back home. He has gathered the three winds into this bag. We're going to keep it on the ship. When we get home, we will release the three winds, but we will not release it until we have made landfall and we are safely moored in our port. And then we will let the winds loose to go back and do their job. But first, we got to get home. By doing this, he shows his men he trusts them. He also is communicating openly and giving them transparency of this is what's happening, this is what this is. Because without that transparency, again, they think, oh, he's got treasures and he's not going to share with us, and we're going to return home empty handed. And this is our only chance to, um, you know, try and get some of those spoils for ourselves. The third thing goes back again with the first thing of trust. If he had trusted them enough to delegate the task to where he was not getting burned out, if he had first trusted them enough to first communicate to them what was in the bag, and then again trusted them enough to tell them what was inside the bag, or tell them to first tell trust them first to tell them what was inside the bag, and then again trust them to delegate the task. Like, these guys have been sailing with you for how long? They've been at war with you for how long? Over 10 years, and you don't trust them yet? So, yeah, if he had let go of that control and been willing to delegate to them, okay, here's what we're going to do. You guys are going to, um, this is the bag. This is what's in the bag. This is why it's here. Once we get home, we'll release the winds. You take on that shift, you take on this shift, you do, and delegate so that he himself is not getting burned out. First of all, they're not going to be curious about what's in the bag. They're not going to start rumors about what's potentially in the bag and what he's holding out on them. Um, and so they get home and everything's fine. Uh, by this point, if they get home, uh, then Penelope and her son don't have to deal with nearly as much as what they had to deal with when they were lost at sea, because he just didn't trust them enough to communicate, hey, this is what's in the bag, and didn't trust them enough to say, hey, we all have to work together to get us home. Regardless of the fact that we have the wind in our favor, we all still need to work together to get these ships home. Um, so yeah, like I said, I think that this is um, I think it's very informational, and I think it's a great way of understanding leadership and leadership roles and how to learn from classic literature. And I really hope that this is not the only um book in this series. Um, so, uh, but as per usual, I will have a link for it in the um, description below. Um, don't forget to like and subscribe. Um, Anything else I'm missing? Oh yeah. Tomorrow I will film a video of the TBR. I know that we're getting close to May. If you are following me on Threads at IndieAuthor Jill, then you know that I did post asking people to choose a number that will get picked. So those will definitely be in May. I'm going to go ahead and pick five more from the jar as well, uh, because I'm convinced I can get through. I can. What is it? The 20. Okay, this video you'll be seeing this on the 23rd. So that means the temple, um, Greek mythology, yay. Uh, the TBR jar pool will happen on the 24th. And what is there, 30 days in April 31? I don't know. There are 30 days in April. So yeah, that gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, I think. Did I count that right? I mean, if I count the 24th, yeah, if I count tomorrow as um a day, because I'll do that like first thing. I'll actually probably do it tonight, and then um the night that I will probably do the video the night that this airs, and then just have it scheduled to go the 24th. So that'll give me the 24th, the 25th, um 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, 7 days. So I should probably be, if the books are small like what this is, then I can get 7 more read. If they are more like this, I might get 1 or 2. Um, because what's going on? Okay, Saturday we have the fair, so I'm not gonna have all day Saturday. Not I'm trying to think of which days I'm gonna have all day to read. Definitely not Saturday, Sunday, or Monday or Tuesday. One of those days I'm gonna have my next training session. Maybe nope. Wednesday is my grandson's birthday, and then Thursday is my stepson's birthday. So yeah, I'll have like 2 days, 2 full days at least to do some reading. That I could read a book, and like I said, if it's like this, then any of those days I could get a full book read. If they're more like um When Stars Explode, that's gonna take a couple more hours. You know. But either way, yeah. Like I said, I definitely hope that there is more in this series. If they're not available now, then I hope they are planned. Um, so like I said, check it out in the description box below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you tomorrow with the TBR pool. Bye.